Hey everybody, so waterproof bags, and namely a waterproof tank bag. I was contacted by this company LOMO. They make wetsuits and things like that, and roll top bags for like sailing, and they also make some bike luggage. Anyway, they said, am I interested in reviewing any of their gear? And I said, well, let me have a look through the site. And I actually saw this, which is a magnetic roll top bag, tank bag, and I thought, you know, that could actually be useful to me. Send me one of those, let me have a look at it, I'll do some testing, and then I'll let you know what I think in a review video, which is what this video is. I'm also going to be giving one of these away, and I'll let you know how to do that later in the video. So the first thing we need to do is kind of just look at this bag as is. Now roll top bags are basically, it's a big sack, like so, that unrolls. So it's just one big bag, other than the access to the sort of mat pocket on the front here. But it is a roll top bag, so it's waterproof, and then the way these work is you just roll them up, and then you'll have clasps of some sort somewhere. And that holds it closed and no water can get in. So as I mentioned, this is a magnetic tank bag. You've got your, so this is where the magnets are in here. You can actually take them out, and they are this style of magnet. It's a normal standard type of magnet. I've seen these commonly used on things like you know, hooks that you can hang up. You know, this style, it's very similar. It's obviously the same sort of design, although it's a little bit smaller. These are actually a lot stronger than I imagined they would be. Honestly, I was expecting to see something in like a neodymium, you know, that sort of magnet to really securely hold it onto the bike, but this is all they have in them. But on direct metal contact, they're actually very strong, but it'll be interesting to see if they've got the strength to hold still through this flap. But yeah, you've got 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is designed so you can put them in the middle, and it all just folds away nice and neat and tidy and stays together. However, this bag has another trick, which is, I believe, if we undo this zip, so we can imagine it's on the bike that way, your actual tank bag, the roll top part, is a rucksack of its own. So it's got its own straps. Obviously nothing too serious about these straps, they're just very basic straps, but it gives you the ability to take the bag off the bike and just shove it on your back and not have to carry it around all day. And then staying on the bike would be the sort of the mounting plate. There is some cushioning throughout this. On the underside, this is like a plasticky rubber type thing, and then you've got this strap that comes out the front, which is designed to go around like your headstock or something like that to secure it to the bike, so it's not just the magnets holding it on. I have test fitted this onto one bike, and I'll be honest, this is a bit short. I do think that could be longer, though it wouldn't be difficult for them to supply an extension, you know, that just clicks into both sides, and you can just make it as long as short as you need it to be. It may be fine for most bikes. I'm actually going to try it on a couple of bikes today, and show you how I fitted it onto my XJ6, and that's where I got it to fit okay. Construction of the bag feels perfectly good as a roll top bag. Yeah, these are nothing spectacular, but they're well attached. And it's nice the way that it all sort of hides away on the bike. I don't think there's any more I can add here, so why don't we go and try and stick this on the bike. What I've done to make my life a little easier is I've actually filled the bag up with some towels, just so we've got it at its full size. This would also be interesting for testing. Okay, so I'm just going to plonk it on the top for now, and then get this strap around the headstock, where it's not going to pull on any cables or anything like that. And I have found one path where that can happen. Right, I'm just going to find where the best placement for this is, where the magnets meet up with the tank. Further back. You want to try and get these as flat as possible onto the metalwork, so then you get as much magnetism holding them on. Unfortunately for me, my badges happen to be exactly where it is. I mean, it still sticks through it, but it's going to reduce it a little bit. I should explain, the first half of this video, I haven't actually ridden with this bag yet. What I'm going to do after I've filmed this part of it is I'm going to use it for a week or so, and I'm going to do some testing on it. And then I'm going to give you my conclusions at the end of the video. And it's not going to just go anywhere on its own, I don't think. I mean, if you did some particularly vigorous riding maybe, but the thing I want to check is, can I still turn my bars without it hitting it? And yes, So to the left, although it's close, it doesn't actually hit anything, and to the right, again, it's close, but it doesn't actually hit anything. So yeah, that's actually okay. They do sell a version of this bag that's not magnetically attached, and that's got a strap to the front and the rear, and that actually would be far more secure. I don't know if it's worth putting a strap on the rear as well, but then what's the point of having a magnetised one if it's not so easy to take off? But then you can just remove this bit anyway, so you'll be leaving this bit on. I don't know. Anyway, let's try on a different style of bike. By the way, this one is a Yamaha XJ6 2010 diversion. So let's try it on a DRZ 400 SM. So the XJ6 has a bigger, wider sports tourer, sports bike style tank. This has got a much, much narrower, flat-sided tank. This might actually be better. But the question is, where does it fit best? Okay, well, we've got good contact on both sides. It actually fits in very nicely with this tank. However, is this going to be long enough to reach around the headstock? Okay, well, I found a clear path around the headstock that's not going to impede anything. I'll tell you what, it would be easier if the adjustment was on the clasp spot side and you could pull it back this way rather than having to pull it into the bike. That actually makes it pretty difficult to do. So we've come around here. It actually goes underneath the edge of the caps quite well and fits onto the side of the bike pretty good because it's flat and flat. That's actually fine, and your knees kind of hold it in place. I can't, you know, if I put the stand down, lean on the stand and bring both my knees up, yeah, you kind of pinch the tank and you're almost holding it on yourself. So yeah, if it's full like this, it kind of slightly gets in the way. And that would definitely add quite a lot more storage onto this bike, which has, well, nowhere to tie anything down, to be honest with you. Let's try it on a 125 Cruiser. Okay, this is a Lexmoto Michigan 125cc with a custom painted tank. I painted myself. You can see a video on that on my channel. This is, again, a different style of tank. It's very wide. And I could imagine if the bag wasn't wide enough to get around the tank and the magnets kind of sat at the sort of midpoint of that curve, it might not get good adhesion. Adhesion? Doesn't sound right, does it? So we've got that round there. Got it as far down as we can. It's lucky that the magnets are actually sitting on the most of the flat. Yeah, it's connected about as much as the other ones. Maybe it's a little looser up the front here where they're kind of on the curves. I'm not entirely sure about that, having that clasp so close up in the mechanics. It would have been better to have, maybe there's a way around that. Maybe if you put the clips actually down here and then had different length straps or something, or even like a bungee version, would that be good? These are just suggestions to Lomo. It's not bad, but it's not as universal. But then the problem is when you make something universal, it's never as good as if it's designed for the purpose. So with your bike, it might work perfect, and in other ones, it might not be quite so good. However, I mean, it's doable. Let's try sitting on. It's not stopping the bars turning. That's the major concern, to be honest with you. That's a reasonable amount of force, and it's not just flung off at any point. It's dragging the whole way. But in this scenario, yeah, with this sort of bike, you could end up... Do you know what? It's the bag's now fallen down the front of the bike down here, and it actually isn't hitting the steering. I'm not saying it's going to do this. Don't freak out, Lomo. I like testing things to their extremes. And everything has to come down to safety at the end of the day. Okay, well, I think that shows you the design of the bag, how it's intended to be used, how it fits on 3 different styles of bike. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with a hose a lot and see if I can get any water to be evident on those towels. Then after that, I'm going to use it for about a week or so on my bike, you know, just to use as a bag to get stuff from the shop and stuff like that. Just see what it's like to use, and then my conclusions will come at the end of this video. Right, let's give it hell. You know we've all ridden in rain like this at some point. Get some force behind it too, because don't forget on the motorway, you've got 70-mile-an-hour winds forcing it through it. give it a complete soaking. Let's get some right round this end where the roll top is. And this end. Is that enough? No, this is the internet. We need more. More! I should bring a fire brigade in and everything. Oh, I haven't... People will say, you only spread it from the front. Well, that's where the water's going to come from most of the time. Oh, God, I'm getting soaked. Oh, I'll take one for the team. Right. Okay, so we'll just try undoing that. That's actually a lot easier now it's on the bike because it's pulling away. Whereas on the flat surface it wasn't quite so easy. Okay. Come on. There we go. Okay, well let's have a little look-see inside. Okay, well the inside of the roll top's completely dry, which is what you would expect. And yeah, I mean it's bone dry, there's not even a drop got around the corner. As far as its waterproofness goes, I'd say that's been confirmed. Oh, should we try and reattach it, see if it's easier? So you've been at the cheese festival and you've bought all your cheeses, and you come back, stick it down, you've got to make sure you get all the straps tucked in. Find your edge. That was easy enough. Done. Okay, so from past me to future me, when I've actually used this on the bike out on the road, tested it out, and then I can give you my conclusions of how I found it. Oh, huge thanks to my Patreon supporters who went up your screen earlier on. You're amazing. Okay, well now it's time for me to give you my conclusions on this LOMO bag. I've been using it for about a week, 10 days now. Funny thing is, it was raining for days. I had to wait for a nice day to be able to film, like, fitting it on the bike, and then it's rained ever since, so it's actually been quite handy to test this thing out. Although it seemed to fit better on my DRZ, the blue bike, it actually was a little bit in the way there because it sits right where your legs want to be. It was doable, but if you need extra storage, on those sorts of bikes there isn't really anywhere else you can put stuff. You can try and put it on the tail. On my XJ6, my white bike, it worked absolutely perfectly. It was up and out of the way. Any concerns I had about these magnets not being strong enough actually proved to not be correct. It was perfectly fine. Even with a decent amount of weight in there, it was enough that it just didn't really go anywhere. But then if you think about it, and I should know this from an old video of mine where I duct taped a couple of T onto my tank. I'm not going to explain. When you turn a bike, the forces actually go downwards through the wheels, so they don't. It's not like you go into a corner and it wants to slide off sideways. As the bike leans, it's just pressing down. So this doesn't actually have to hold it left to right. It really has to just hold it in place. And even then, you can give it a budge and it didn't move. So I've been actually surprised how effective they've been, considering they don't seem to latch as hard as I would imagine they would. But that's just my inexperience with tank bags, I guess. It's done the job completely fine. There's nothing I can really add. It is a waterproof roll top bag which will go on your tank. You'll need to check the website to see what the current price is. I don't say in videos because in a year's time it might be different, I don't know. But I had a look, and between the prices of roll top bags that are like dedicated roll top bags and tank bags, this comes in somewhere in the middle. It's actually like, yeah, that's around what I would expect it to be. So pricing wise, it's fair. The only thing, as I say, is this front strap. It's just a bit short. And actually, I forgot to say, on my XJ6, you're going to be careful. See this sort of munchy, sort of weird coloured bit? This is because it actually gets in the way of my steering lock. I have to like pull it around and put the steering lock on. This just makes it a little bit harder to put on, so it's obviously somehow wedging in there. I wouldn't have that problem if I could put it further away around the headstock or in a different place, but unfortunately due to the length of this, I can't do that. So a little extension would solve that problem, and also would be very cheap. So maybe LOMO, maybe you could do like one of these straps with a, you know, a male and a female on it, so long with a couple of adjusters, so you could have it extra long if you need it to be, and you can just use that as an add-on, obviously, because you can just plug them into these. So I'd say that is my only suggestion as an improvement on this bag. Otherwise, it's very handy, and I'm going to enjoy keeping to use it, because over the winter, you know, if I go out with camera equipment and stuff, it's nice to know that whatever's in here is dry. So that's my opinion of it. Nicely made, very handy, fairly priced. If it's something you're after, go and have a look. I said to LOMO, could you do another one to give away? And they were like, yeah, why not? It sounds like a good idea. So very simple. Leave a comment on this video, and 1 week after it's uploaded, I'm going to use a random comment picker to pick out one person. I will then reply to your comment, and I'm going to give you an email address. I need you to then email me. I give you a little password, which is just a word, and then you need to post that as a comment back on the original video. That way I can guarantee the person who's picked is the same person who sends me an email, because obviously your username and your email address might not match up. So it's just a way that I've been doing that for a while now, and it seems to work perfectly. Once I've picked the winner and I reply to the comment, if I don't get a response from you in 5 days, I'm going to pick another winner. I've nearly been caught out by this in the past where people don't check their comments. So, you know, check your comments. If you want to win and you're entering, make sure you check back. But yeah, as I say, that'll be done 1 week after this video is uploaded. So what will then happen is you give me your address, I'll give that to LOMO, and they're going to send you one of these bags free of charge wherever you are in the world. So that's really good of them. So if you found this video useful, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Massive shout to my Patreon supporters who went up your screen earlier. If you've got any more questions, please do ask them. I don't feel like I've really sort of said enough, but it's such a simple bag, it's such a simple premise that it is just a roll top bag that attaches onto your tank. I don't think there's a lot more you can really say. It is what it is, and it does its job nicely. So thanks to LOMO for that, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye. If you enjoyed this video and the other content on the channel, please consider following the links in the description to show your support.